Welcome, everyone, to the July 27th, 2021 Development Review Commission hearing. The purpose of the Development Review Commission has been created to hold public meetings and hearings to provide analysis and recommendations to the City Council regarding general land use policies and applications where the Commission has recommendatory power and to render final decisions on specified applications where the Commission has final decision-making power, including, but not limited to, all aspects of a proposed and future development. The Development Review Commission recognizes—
I'm here. Finally.
Loud. All right. The Development Review Commission recognizes that the creation of a desirable environment through the city for residents, business, and industry is a prime requisite for the interdependence of land values, aesthetics, and good site planning, by promoting harmonious, safe, attractive, and compatible development that is therefore considered to be the best interests, public health, safety, and general welfare. Any person aggrieved by a final decision that the Development Review Commission may file an appeal to the City Council within 14 calendar days after the Development Review Commission has rendered its decision. So what that means, if you don't like a decision, a final decision that's been made by the Development Review Commission, then you have 14 days after today's meeting to file a formal appeal with the city. Development Review Commission recommendations to the City Council are not final decisions. You wouldn't need to appeal those. You would just follow that case through to the final decision-making authority, which would be the City Council. Roll call. Today, in attendance for the Commission, we have the following members. Myself, Vice Chair DiDomenico, Stephen Bauer, Michelle Schwartz, Don Casano, Scott Sumners, Bill Amorosi, and Barbara Lloyd. The first item on our agenda this evening is the election of a permanent chairperson and vice chair. I am open for nominations or recommendations or a motion.
Mr. Chairman, this is Don Casano. I would make a nomination for this chairman, currently Vice Chairman DiDomenico, and for Vice Chairman, Commissioner Steve Bauer.
We have a second.
Mr. Amorosi, second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Casano, seconded by Commissioner Amorosi. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will ask for a roll call, aye or nay. Stephen Bauer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Michelle Schwartz?
Aye.
Don Casano?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Scott Sumners?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And Barbara Lloyd?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, everybody. Steve and I will try to not let you down too much. Next items on our agenda are two sets of minutes, the study session and regular meeting minutes for June 8th, 2021. We discussed those in pre-session. We did not have any amendments, changes to those. So I would recognize or appreciate a motion for approval of both.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve the regular session minutes and study session minutes of June 8th, 2021.
Mr. Chairman, Don Casano here. I'd second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. I will abstain as I was not in attendance at those meetings. We will take a roll call vote. Commissioner Bauer?
Aye.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Aye.
Commissioner Casano?
Aye.
I abstain. Commissioner Sumners?
Aye.
Commissioner Amorosi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lloyd?
I abstain.
Motion to approve passes a vote of 5 in favor with 2 abstentions. Next is our regular agenda. We discussed that in our pre-session, in our study session earlier. It's the intention of the commission to hear case number 4 and case number 6. Those are the cases for 250 Rio and REEF Kitchens. It is also the commission's intention to include all the rest of the cases which would be 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, all on our consent agenda. It's the intention of the commission to vote in the affirmative on the consent agenda, which would have the effect of approving all of those cases included in the consent agenda. If there's any member of the public who wishes to have any of those cases heard, now would be the time to get our attention. Staff, do we have anyone who would wish to have any of those pulled or be heard on them?
Chairman, I do not have any new comments.
We did discuss in pre-session on one case, I believe, Diana, you had one item just to read into the record on a case that is currently on the consent agenda. Did you want to read that into the record?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Regarding tonight's meeting on this proposal by the Development Review Commission, I have a few comments. This was submitted by Tom Wright. He's a resident in the neighborhood. This is a very small lot for the proposed usage. Will it include adequate parking spaces, landscaping, lighting, stormwater drainage, and other elements that typically occur in larger developments? Note, there is already a great deal of street parking in this neighborhood due to inadequate space in nearby apartments and condos. What setbacks will be retained for sidewalks and street front landscaping? Please ensure that any portion of the proposed development, including signage and landscaping, does not interfere with traffic sight lines at the Southern Roosevelt intersection. Traffic moves fast through this intersection and good visibility must be maintained. I did respond to him by email after receiving this late today, and asked if he wanted this read, and he followed up and said, please express the concerns of parking and the site visibility, making sure that the landscaping and signage that might be involved doesn't affect that. So I assured him that these meet all of the requirements, and I addressed each of his comments. Thank you.
Chairman, I think you're muted.
Yes, I am. Commission, any changes, any second thoughts, any other items you'd like to pull from the commission or from the consent agenda? Hearing none, we will vote on the consent agenda as I just listed it. I would entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
This is Commissioner Amorosi, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda for this evening's meeting.
Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, this is Don Casano. I would second that motion.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Commissioner Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Aye.
Commissioner Casano.
Aye.
I also vote aye. Commissioner Sumners,
Aye.
Commissioner Amorosi,
Aye, sorry.
aye, and Commissioner Lloyd.
Aye.
The consent agenda is approved by a vote of 7-0. That brings us to the first of the two cases that we will hear. The first case is item number 4. It's a request for preliminary subdivision plat for 250 Rio. Applicant is Gammage and Burnham. I believe that Ms. Vaz is online, and Obinia Kingsby will handle this for staff.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, congratulations on your new appointment. Look forward to seeing you more.
Thank you.
So we have a brief presentation on the plat. I'm happy to make it, or if Commissioner Amorosi had a question that I could answer for him. I don't have a ton to say about the plat, so it's up to you. Would you like a little presentation on it?
Oh, if you're talking to me, my question has to do with the parking on the city land that you'll be taking out. I'm sorry, what was that? Well, that it's used a lot for the events down at Tempe Beach Park. And I wanted to know how much of that parking is going to be taken away, or if the developer is going to work out some kind of development agreement with the city that they would be allowed to use their 6-story parking garage for special events, like, you know, there's the 4th of July event and the Oktoberfest and things like that, where parking is a premium. So I just didn't want it to go away.
Okay, Mr. Chair and Commissioner Amorosi, just briefly for the people on the in the area. So there's the red box is a property that we're swapping with the city for our little sliver. So we're trying to kind of basically give the city a little bit the title so that they would have the land for that parking back. So that parking lot all becomes the city's parking lot, and we'll swap for our sliver, this little sliver piece that the city owns. So the parking lot is going to stay. And but to answer Commissioner Amorosi's question, and happy as we're just starting this process, so we certainly will be back in front of this commission this fall, you know, knock on wood, when we actually get a proposal all together. But to answer your question, yes, we have been working with the city in the parking garage, so that the existing parking lot will stay. The city will have some parking in the new parking garage for special events. We've also been working with the city and the historic preservation in terms of how the historic ash abutment will be considered. I know it's a little off this, but just in terms of, just to give you a sense of what's been going on, we have been briefly to the Historic Preservation Commission, I believe last month. And then we're also working with the city, Commissioner Amorosi, in terms of kind of also potentially the second phase of the Veterans Memorial. So we're going to come back to you and show you everything that's going on with this property, but the intent is not to take away any parking. It's to add some more parking for special events, work on a couple of other things associated with both Ash Avenue, the abutment, and the Veterans Memorial, and try to accomplish a couple of things that have been going on in the area that we think will be a good partnership between the city and the developers of 250 Rio, which is Hines. And so, and again, if I have a couple of minutes, the same development team that developed 100 Mill, and so obviously with the Hayden House, is involved in this. So that's kind of what we were trying to do, and trying to work through a good public-private partnership, here we go, that that we think will work well for everybody. So we have lot 1, we have lot 3, we're going to kind of expand lot 1, so lot 1 and lot 2 will become together, and then the city gets lot 3, which is, it's this current parking lot, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Ms. Voss.
Other questions from the commission? All right, thank you very much for answering the questions. Mr. Kingsby, is there anything you'd like to add to the discussion, or any additional facts that you might think would be of value?
Good evening, Commissioner, or I should say now, Chair DiDomenico. I do not have anything to add in regards to Commissioner Amorosi's question there, but I'm happy to answer any other questions you all may have in regards to the plat.
Commission, any questions for staff? If not, we can certainly entertain a motion.
Chairman, before you do that, would you like me to read the comment that we received for that?
Yes, please.
I'll just summarize it quickly. It is from Kathleen Iovino, Tempe resident. And she just wanted to make sure that for the sake of transparency, that the ownership of the property was, information was available to her, just because from her research, she had seen that the company currently registered on Maricopa County Assessors is registered in Delaware. So I don't see her online, so she had said that she would speak if she were there in person, but I don't see her. But I had already responded and provided a copy of our staff report with the plat information. And the property is owned by American Airlines currently, and a portion by City of Tempe.
Thank you very much. And you've provided that information to the resident who inquired by email?
Yes, Chairman.
Thank you very much. All right. A motion would be appropriate if someone is so inclined.
So, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Sumner's here. Motion to approve PL 210130 as noted in the staff report.
Do we have a second?
Mr.
Commissioner Amorosi, second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Sumners and seconded by Commissioner Amorosi. Commission discussion. Hearing none, I will call the roll for vote. Commissioner Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Schwartz.
Aye.
Commissioner Casano.
Aye.
I also vote aye. Commissioner Sumners.
Aye.
Commissioner Amorosi.
Aye.
And Commissioner Lloyd.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everyone. This motion passes 7-0. That leaves us or brings us to our final case to hear this evening. This is item 6 on our agenda. It's the request for a use permit to allow temporary outdoor vending for a ghost kitchen for REEF Kitchens located at 2115 South McClintock Drive. Specifically, I know that Commissioner Schwartz had some questions here. Is the applicant present?
Yes, he is. This is Kelly Milligan. I am present.
Hello, Mr. Milligan.
Hello.
Nice to hear from you again.
Nice to be back.
Give us a little bit. You've kind of been through the process on a couple other sites with us. So just give us the basics of this particular site. And Commissioner Schwartz, I know, has some questions on how it works on this site and maybe some more specific things.
Yes, absolutely, Chairman, and congratulations, first of all, Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission. Thank you again for having me. To dive in a little more detail on this particular site, this one is a little more unique than the other two that we have presented here at the Development Review Commission. Looking at the presentation here, you will see on the right-hand side the actual aerial view of the property itself. The intent of REEF Kitchens is to occupy the northeastern corner of the property, leaving the frontage along McClintock Drive and along the southern part of the building along Palmcroft Drive unoccupied by us. We would strictly occupy only to the north of that particular trash enclosure, butting up against the southern portion of the property to the north. The layout would be much similar as you would see in the other locations, both on Apache Boulevard and on Broadway. One trailer maximum, as we would recommend on this particular location. We don't think anything more than that, like at the Apache Boulevard location where we have a maximum of 2. Doesn't seem very feasible in our opinion, and it would be much similar in every other way. We would be operating a ghost style kitchen at that location and dedicated 2 to 3 other stalls on that back side of the building dedicated for drivers and staff for them to come and go and pick up their orders. I am open to any and all questions and happy to discuss.
Thank you very much. Schwartz, do you have any additional questions you'd like to present?
Yeah, I had driven by the site and it looks like there is a temporary trailer out there currently. At least it looks to be the same equipment that REEF would be putting in. So is that the equipment owned by you that's out there on site today?
It is currently. We are running some testing for staff training. No sales, nothing public facing at this moment in time. Of course, we wait for any recommendations and final decisions rendered by the DRC.
And in that layout, it appears that the temporary power and restrooms are to the south of the trash enclosure, not as depicted in the site plan you presented to the commission.
I believe the generator is a temporary measure to only support training. We will be tapping into the existing infrastructure of the adjacent building if and when the Development Review Commission renders this potentially approved. And the portable restroom is required by Maricopa County Code, Health Department Code, to be a minimum of 25 feet away. Unfortunately, I should have provided a revision to that particular plan. The information provided to me from Maricopa County Department of Health was a little bit late coming in. So unfortunately, I did not have time and the ability to update the floor or the site layout in accordance with the updated requirements.
And then has there been any sort of outreach? I know the other two sites had at least some sort of site fencing between the location and the nearest residential owner. In this case, have you had any outreach with the adjacent landowner to the east?
I have not personally reached out to the landowner to the east. I do know that our operations team does conduct some community outreach in the area. We do provide and discuss our presence in the community, and I have not heard of any comments returned to me from the operations team, but I can definitely look into that and reach back out to this group on any and all comments that were received.
I think I just had another question for Lee when after he presents that portion.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioners, any other questions for the applicant? All right, Mr. Milligan, we'll have you sit back and listen a little bit, and we will have staff add to the story here.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, good evening, Commission. Chair Domenico. My name is Lee Jimenez. I'm a senior planner with the Community Development Department in the Planning Division. So, REEF Kitchens, Kelly provided a basic overview of the operations. Just for the facts of the case, this corner lot is located in the CSS Commercial Shopping and Services District. Yes, the vessel is proposed on the very northeast corner of the site. Next slide, please. Next one. Okay, so the vessel is proposed on the very northeast corner of the site, and the hours of operation are planned for 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. on the daily basis, with 2 employees on hand at each time. And then the vessel measures to be 8 feet by 24 feet in length. And as part of the conditions of approval, staff did consult with the traffic engineering group, and they felt that it would be in the best interest to have the alley portion that's at the rear repaved, since it's in not great condition, and since there will be a little additional traffic on the alley for deliveries accessing the vessel on the site. And We did advertise this request through our traditional public hearing process. So property owners within 600 feet were notified by postcard. There's a sign posted at the site, and then the agenda was advertised in the newspaper. So there was a public outreach identifying the request by REEF Kitchens for this for the site. And I'm available to answer any questions. Do you have any concerning the conditions or the site itself and staff's recommendation?
Commissioners, any questions for Lee? You mentioned you did outreach, but we didn't hear any specific concerns from the residents directly to the east of the alley.
That's correct. I did not receive any comments up until now. Not one comment has been received by phone or email.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Commissioner Schwartz, I see your hand is up.
Sure, just a couple more questions since this is the first I'm voting on the REEF Kitchens. Can you just go over when this is approval for a temporary outdoor vending? Is there a sunset clause, or when will this be reviewed again or followed up on by staff?
There is no sunset condition to the use permit request. The scope of the request is temporary outdoor vending, and that's intended for any type of vending that's being conducted in the outdoors that's not in a permanent building. So because of the temporary nature of the building, there is no sunset to when this use permit could end in the future.
And then just regarding the parking and vehicular access to the site, it looks to be challenging given the location of the dumpster and everything that's trying to be fit in that area to the east. Can you talk me through how it's anticipated that guests will pick up their meals from this location?
Sure. So the parking that's required for the retail convenience store is 9 spaces. There are 6 spaces provided along McClintock at the front. And then historically, looking at historic area photography and old street view images, there were some parallel spaces striped to the south of the building, and those are 3 spaces. And then based on historical aerials as well, there are 2 spaces located at the rear just south of the refuse enclosure. So in total, there is 11 spaces, and 10 would be required if you were to include the REEF Kitchens vessel. And as far as the operations are concerned, I did include a condition of approval that limited the pickup of delivery items or food items that are for delivery to the parallel spaces along the south, and that's just to help mitigate any impact to the single-family residents directly to the east, which is across the alley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions from the commission? Commissioner Summers.
So just, and thanks so much, Mr. Chairman. Lee, just following up on the question here from Commissioner Schwartz, what happens if this does become an issue? How does that, if the neighbors complain, if the operation's noisy, how does that work from an entitlement standpoint? At some point, do they have to come back to this group, or is that just handed over to PD for enforcement, or how does that work?
In the future, should there be any issues or formal complaints that are verified by the city, the use permit can go into the revocation process. And the first step in that is a 30-day notice for administrative hearing with staff to kind of go over the issues at hand. And it gives the applicant or the operator opportunity to rectify any of the concerns. And after those 30 days, if there's still concerns, then city staff would proceed with the revocation process and take it to the decision-making body or the applicable decision-making body, which at this time would be the Development Review Commission. And then it would go through that process, and should the commission decide to revoke the use permit, that would take place at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and then one note, Commissioner Schwartz, you were mentioning something about the design standards of the site, as you know, since it's adjacent to single family. So I just wanted to note that back in 1963, there was a variance process at the site to develop this drive-in grocery using the R4 multifamily standards, which is the reason why there's no typical perimeter wall at the rear like you would today or any new commercial development that's adjacent to a single family use. So it's basically grandfathered design at this time.
Thank you.
Just as a note here, in the past on use permits, the commission has, when we thought that there may be some reasonable expectation for issues or something very unique was being done on the site, we have put time limits on the approval of the use permit to have a staff level review at a certain point in time, just to make sure that things are going as planned. So we can set something 12 months out, 6 months out, and ask staff not to wait for a complaint, but to really just go in and see if there's a problem and how the operation's really operating. So if the commission so chooses, that could be a condition of approval. Just a thought. All right, thank you. I'm going to ask the applicant, I don't see any more questions. I'm going to ask the applicant to come back in and address anything that you've heard, or if there's anything you'd like to add in summary.
Yes, thank you. I don't have much left to add. Lee really did provide a comprehensive review of the site and communicated any and all requirements or conditions of approval. REEF Kitchens and REEF Technology are committed to being good partners with the city and all neighborhoods and neighbors that we encounter. And we are committed to satisfying any and all conditions of use approval, up to and including repaving that lot from the building all the way through the alleyway. I do understand for some folks that can be quite the undertaking, but you know, in order to continue to build that trust with the community, we are committed to it. And that's pretty much all I have. Thank you again for the commission for my time. I'm sure that we will all speak again. We are constantly looking for sites, and once again, I appreciate all your time.
Mr. Milligan, do you have, how many REEF Kitchens or similar ghost kitchen operations do you have up and running in Maricopa County now?
In Maricopa County, we have 4. It is, and we are strictly located in Tempe at this moment in time. We have the one on 830 Broadway, the 2 located at 1858 Apache Boulevard, and then soon to be hoping this upcoming one at 2115 South McClintock.
Okay, thank you. All right, commissioners, discussion and or motions are appropriate at this point in time. Michelle, what are you thinking? Are you comfortable? Do you still have concerns?
I mean, I'm generally supportive of the REEF concept and did take a chance to review the other 2 parcels, which seem to have quite a bit more space available and logistically seemed to be more compatible with the use. I'm struggling with, you know, how it's going to be serviced and potential disruption to the adjacent owners. So.
Commissioner Amorosi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I make a motion to allow the temporary outdoor use permit for REEF Kitchens, PL 210124.
Mr. Chairman, Don Casano, I second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Commissioner Lloyd, do you want to discuss? Question?
I was just going to mention I had the opportunity to serve as an alternate, I believe, when they came before the commission for the Roosevelt location. And I believe we had a very similar discussion in terms of the use permit and potential revocation if they became a nuisance. I feel like they have demonstrated that they've been a responsible occupant and community partner. So I just wanted to mention that before we voted that I'll be supporting the use permit.
You have a good memory. That is exactly the discussion we had on that site.
Thanks.
Commissioner Sumners.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Lloyd, thank you for bringing that up. I was the stick in the mud on that other one. Thank you very much. I had concerns there, and I have concerns here as well. I agree that we haven't seen a lot of issues, but I do think, this case aside, it might be good for us to talk about a temporary use and a permanent use permit and how those two fit together, because that just it's odd in my mind that it's a use permit for a temporary use that never goes away. Fundamentally, it just doesn't make sense. If I'm trying to explain it to an 8-year-old, they wouldn't get it. So I'm happy to support this one, but I think it begs the broader question. Thanks.
And likewise, we approve lots of permanent locations that turn out to be very temporary. Not by choice, but all right, thank you. Other Commissioner Bauer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To kind of expand on Commissioner Sumner's comments, use permits historically have not been necessarily permanent approvals. They are subject to conditions, and if those conditions are ever violated, it is the ability of staff to bring about cause to require compliance, and if compliance cannot be met or is not met, revocation is really a very simple process. Unlike zoning, which is permanent and takes almost an act of God to take zoning away, use permits are granted with very specific findings to be made. I think staff's done an excellent job with stipulating this case, and we will see it again if indeed it does not work out or the numerous stipulations are not met. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Lloyd, your hand is up. Was that from your previous question? Okay. Seeing no other discussion, I'll call for a vote. We'll do the roll call thing. Again, Commissioner Bauer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Nay.
Commissioner Casano?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Commissioner Sumners?
Aye.
Commissioner Amorosi?
Aye.
Commissioner Lloyd?
Aye.
The motion carries 6-1. Commissioner Schwartz in the dissent. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. Any members of the public who are watching, well, first of all, you should be watching the Olympics, but if you're watching us and you have any questions, feel free to reach out to staff and they'll be happy to answer any questions about any of the decisions that were made today. And a reminder, if you do not agree and wish to appeal a decision, you have a 14-day time frame within which to do that. Any commission member announcements? Anybody have anything they'd like to share? I would like to share, again, first of all, congratulations to our 2 alternate members who are now with us as permanent members, Commissioners Lloyd and Schwartz. We welcome you and look forward to what you bring to our process. I also look forward to having hybrid in-person and COMDEX meetings, starting with our August 10th meeting. It will be good to get in and make use of the wonderful facility down at City Hall that the city has built, and that we've only, well, we've never really had a full meeting. So it's been there for a couple of years, and this is going to be our first time to all meet there. So forward to it. Fantastic. Staff, is there any announcements that you'd like to share?
Chairman, just to ask you whether you wanted me to repeat the August 10th agenda for the public.
Yeah, we let everybody know what's going. If you could let us know the 3 cases so far that have been added to that agenda.
Sure. So the next meeting of Development Review Commission is on August 10th, and it's going to be hopefully a hybrid version with in-person and Cisco WebEx. We have 3 cases that evening. The first one is a use permit for Series 7 bar at the Fremont Tap Room and Kitchen at 1730 East Warner Road. The second item for use permit is to allow parking in the front yard setback for the young residents located at 1122 West Elmer Way. And then a use permit to allow an expansion to an existing vocational school for Arizona College of Nursing at 1620 West Fountainhead Parkway. Those are the 3 cases.
Very good. Very good. Just for clarification for the public, are we saying that this hybrid meeting allows them to attend either virtually as they are tonight, or they can come in person to council chambers, or are we not ready for that yet?
I am assuming, Ryan, I would defer that to Ryan because I think there hasn't been especially like the last 2 days with all the cases going up, we are not really sure at this point. We are going to follow whatever city council decides to do with their first meeting in August. But like Ryan indicated, there is a meeting that's going to be held 2 days from now.
Okay.
And then Ryan, did you want to add anything to it?
Yeah, thank you, Suparna. Basically, we've legally advertised for an in-person meeting location at the council chamber, so we will abide by that, as well as having the option for Cisco WebEx for the public to choose options. Now, what we don't know yet is to the degree at which what safety protocol guidelines we're going to be implementing in the council chamber. So we're hoping to get that more specifically fine-eyed on what the details are entailed with that and share all that information with you all. But we'll have posted information as to what guidelines will be implemented for in-person meetings.
So check the website, call the office or staff if you're unsure a day or 2 before the meeting, or attend by WebEx. But if you come in person, bring a mask with you because likely we'll all be wearing them. That probably will be the protocol for at least the time foreseeable future. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. I will see you all in August. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Mike. Congratulations. I'm glad to have you on board for another 3.
Thank you. Bye-bye.